welcome back to Justice 4. We're your hosts. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Sam.
All right, guys, it's Friday.
It's Friday.
So what are we doing in your feed on a Friday?
Well, tomorrow's my birthday.
And so this kind of has become a special, like, hey, you guys get an extra episode because it's Sam's birthday.
And there's also some shit going on that y'all keep sending us. We are aware.
Tagging us.
Yeah.
Everything.
But we want to, give out all the information with it.
Instead of the 18 million posts that Jackie's already put out about this in one day.
Yeah, that.
So we are talking about Morgan Geyser. The pain in our side that won't go away. And honestly, I thought that it would be Rachel or Sheila that would be the pain in our side.
I didn't realize it was going to be Morgan. Dead ass.
When I texted Sam. Oh, first of all. Sam was in Chicago.
Yes, I was.
When Morgan was escaping and literally going through Chicago. She was out and about.
I could have been walking the streets of Chicago with fucking Morgan Geyser. We could have crossed paths.
They could have. And now, if you have no idea what we're talking about, let me explain.
Also, before you explain, I do want to welcome all the new people who are here. Unfortunately, because of her.
Morgan.
But
yes.
Thank you to everyone who has been watching our stuff and sharing and reposting and just everything. Welcome. Thank you guys. We're doing this obviously because we love it, but to have this kind of growth, and we love you guys for it.
Yes, so, and everybody is asking for all this update in one place.
Here we are, baby.
Here we are. So just to give a little backstory on the entire case and why we were even talking about Morgan and her escape. Back in 2014, Morgan and her classmate Anissa, and they were 12 years old, decided to stab their friend Payton in order to appease a fictional character, Slender Man, online, and they were going to go and join him in his castle in the forest and become his servants and save their whole family. The girls were picked up 5.5 hours later, walking to a national forest. They were arrested and charged as adults. They were sentenced to 40 years in mental institutions. Anissa was released years ago and has been quiet as a mouse and unproblematic.
She's released to her parents also.
Released to her dad on GPS monitoring with all of their online activity monitored, obviously due to their crime.
She's doing well.
She's doing very well, is not a problem. Morgan, on the other hand, is a massive problem, and she was in our update episode. We've done other stuff with her. But
she's a mess, man.
Where we left you with our last update episode on Morgan was that she was working on getting released into a group home. They had one plan, but shocking, they didn't consult Peyton or her family, and they were going to put her in a group home 8 miles away from where Peyton was currently living. And the judge and everyone went, no, go back and redo this. So August of this year, we were back in court again. And they had this plan, and the judge was like, you're not a threat. Her defense lawyers, well, you're not a threat. Everybody else and their mom knew she was a threat.
You're rehabilitated.
Even though she was found to be talking to somebody outside who was obsessed with her crimes and was trying to sell things from it and profit from it. All of this.
Wasn't she also drawing and reading?
Yep, she was back into reading material she shouldn't have had. Drawings that were
a little bit dark.
Yes, very much. And similar to what they had found at 12 years old with her, showing that she did not have growth, something that we were all screaming and yelling.
Crazy.
But still, in September, secretly and quietly, another court hearing was held. And Morgan was released to a group home, and then the court documents were sealed, and nobody knew where she went or when she got there. But this court hearing was on September 9th, I do believe.
Okay.
So she went into a group home with it sometime after that.
Yeah.
Okay. Her final plan was signed on September 17th. That's when it was signed. But I don't know if that's when she went into the home or not like that, because all of that's sealed.
It was most likely either later that day or the day after.
And the reason that she got released to the group home is because they say that there's nothing else that they could do to help her in the mental institution. The only way she can learn now is to be reintegrated with society and community. I completely disagreed, and so did a lot of other people, because no, absolutely no. And she was still doing so many things and saying so many things that did not think that was going to be a good idea. And here we are.
Like I said in the episode this past week, we're down with the theys, gays, and bays, but like her going and like changing her pronouns and like all of this stuff, it just feels calculated.
Yes. And another thing is, back in June, she did change her pronouns and was saying that she was transgender and wanted to transition, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
but then
August,
yeah,
that changed in her hearing. That was no longer the case. That is not what she was doing. And you'll understand why we're bringing that up in a moment.
Yeah.
I personally, before we get into this, have always thought that if they were completely and they're growing in the mental institution, they should not be released. They should have gone to prison to finish out their sentence because they were charged as adults. I feel like we will talk more on the legislation that needs to change in Wisconsin, but I feel like this is a very big part of it. I feel like there should be an addendum that if you are done with your mental rehabilitation, you need to move on. So,
correct. I agree.
This all brings us to November 22nd. So, like, Saturday. Okay? For you guys, it will literally have been like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Just about 2 weeks ago.
So around 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, November 22nd, authorities at the Wisconsin Department of Corrections received an alert that Morgan's GPS monitor bracelet was malfunctioning.
That's crazy.
But it wasn't until 11:35 that the DOC called the group home, where they confirmed that Morgan was no longer in her room and her ankle monitor was there. 2 hours later. It took them 2 hours to call the group home. Also, why didn't the group home know that she was missing for 2 hours?
Yeah.
It wasn't until midnight that the DOC issued an apprehension request. But this was never forwarded to local police in Madison, where Morgan was being held. Early Sunday morning, November 23rd, at 7:46 a.m., the group home calls 911 to report Morgan missing. They then notify the local police department at 7:58. And that is the first time the public was officially alerted that she was missing.
I'm honestly still so confused by all of this. Like, one, you waited 2 hours to call a DOC. Then you waited almost 12 hours. What, 10 hours?
They didn't know. They didn't know. The DOC waited 2 hours to call the group home to check on her malfunctioning monitor bracelets. The group home was not aware she was missing until the DOC called them, where they then went into her room and discovered her bracelet and she was missing.
Well, damn. Okay, so now my next question is, why did the group home call her in as a missing person?
We don't know. That still hasn't been released. I'm thinking it's because here we are the next morning and there's still nothing alerted or out about her being missing.
Yeah, I guarantee they told them fucking nothing going on. Like, they're just waiting, like sitting around waiting for the DOC. And then finally, like,
I feel like something had to have happened for the group home to be like, no one is doing anything about this. We need to call somebody about this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't wait to hear that detail coming out of why they called to report her missing, even though the DOC already knew about it. Really going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So now we are on to Sunday, November 23rd. Okay.
That's when I was in Chicago.
Around noon on Sunday. That morning, it's put out that she's missing and that she's missing. They're looking for her, all of that.
Yeah.
The first person to contact Peyton and her family was a victim advocate. And to this day, nobody else has contacted her from the DOC, the police department, or anything. The only contact came from a victim's advocate who thought that they should call to let her know in case they hadn't. Absolutely nobody let her or her family know that Morgan had escaped. For 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours, they had no idea that Morgan was out there. Nobody bothered to let them know. I mean, it shouldn't surprise you. They didn't even bother to check where Payton lived before they tried to place her in a group home.
They have not given a fuck about Payton this entire time. Payton or her family. Like, they don't give a shit.
Stacy, her mom, did put out a post that they are safe. They are aware, and yeah. So Sunday evening around 10:34 p.m. In Poison, Illinois. which is 30 miles south of Chicago. I Google Maps this. It was 30 to 35 minutes south of where Sam currently was standing is where Morgan was found.
I was in like South Side Chicago in our hotel, just because it was closer to the airport we were going to, and she was texting me, and I'm like, hell yeah, brother.
So Morgan was found sleeping on the sidewalk behind a truck stop, but I'm going to assume it's like a truck stop gas station because I've heard both of them.
I heard gas station
changed interchangeably, so I think it's like a truck stop gas station.
Well, generally, truck stops are gas stations. Generally, there.
Yeah, she's found there about 170 miles from Madison, Wisconsin, and she is found with an adult companion, 43-year-old Chad Mecca.
The first thing I messaged her, I said, "There's no fucking way this dude's 43."
Yeah, check out this picture.
Dude, meth is a hell of a drug.
Right? Chad and Morgan were found sleeping on a sidewalk. First off, Morgan will not give police her name. She is not giving it to him. She's like, nuh-uh. Then she gives them a false name, and they go and look it up, and they're all, that's what
There's no way that's real.
She couldn't even remember how to spell it. Okay. So then they're sitting there and she's like, I don't want to give a name. I don't want to get her in trouble talking about Chad.
I did something really bad.
And it's something really bad. And the officer's like, it couldn't have been that bad. And
she said, the officer dead ass was like, you didn't kill anyone, did you? You're not wanted for murder, are you?
Yeah. And then so finally when she does give the officer a name, she writes it down on a pad of paper and is like, just Google me. And then thinking that was going to be good enough, the officer's all M-O-R Morgan, and then going through it with her, and she's like, and she keeps claiming that Chad doesn't know anything and blah blah blah, which obviously no.
There's no fucking way.
Especially with what so who is
really quick though, there's something that did kind of bother me in the footage was that because she gave her name, right? Morgan Geyser is what she gave them, and they're like, oh, we can't find anything. She was like, try Morgan E. Geyser, and that's when she came up. Why do we have to add the middle initial for it to come up? Her name should automatically be fucking coming up, especially since she gave her birthday.
We were in Chicago though.
So?
And not in Wisconsin looking up. I don't know.
I mean, I guess, but still, she also gave her birthday.
Yes. So
it was just weird, a little red flaggy, and I was just like, don't like that.
So how did Morgan and Chad meet being in a group home that she's supposed to be very, very monitored and slowly getting freedoms and other things? So they met at church. Okay. They started talking, they became closer, and he somehow got visitation to the group home with her. I'm talking
oh, I thought I was denied.
No, so he had visitation initially.
Okay.
And I don't know how she could meet someone at church and they got added to her group home visitation so quickly. So confused there.
Group home people.
So he gets to come and start visiting her. And then suddenly, a few days before she ran, his visitation was getting revoked. He said that because he called a news station and decided to talk to them. That's how I can tell you this right now. So
after he was picked up?
Yeah, after he was released and everything. So he said that as soon as she found out that his visitation was getting revoked and that they wouldn't be able to see each other anymore at the group home, and he didn't want to sneak in through the window to see her,
which is gross, and also means there was zero fucking security, by the way.
Morgan decided that she was going to cut off her ankle monitor and run, and they left and they ran. And he said that he went with her because she wouldn't make it on her own, and that she wouldn't be okay alone. So, the goodness of his heart. But yeah, so he basically got a citation and was released.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he got taken in. He got a citation, a ticket. He has to go to court and pay. He has a court date, but there's no charges.
Oh, it was loitering, wasn't it? A loitering.
Yeah, it was
citation?
Loitering and something else. Oh, a false identification. Not allowing helping conceal an identity. That's what it was. So yeah, so that is how they ended up together, which I think is just absolutely crazy.
It's gross.
And she wasn't even we're talking 6 weeks, and she's met somebody at church, allowed to put them on their visitation and all this. I don't think this is the same guy we were worried about her communicating with back in June and before. I don't think this is the same person, because I think they would have said that, but also that question's been asked in press conferences and other stuff, and it's not being answered. So I don't know.
Yeah. I just, like, couple of thoughts up in my noggin. First and foremost, if he had visitation to come see her, he has to sign in every time, which means he was signing in saying, I'm here to see Morgan Geyser, which means he knows who the fuck she is.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he doesn't know what she did.
There's Google. No.
Yeah. Regardless, he knows who the fuck she is. Secondly, if you're sneaking in her window at night and sleeping like in the same bed with her, we know what the fuck is going on. It's sick.
I don't know if that was going on, but like probably, because apparently we're not very locked down up in here. I don't know. So what's coming next?
Mm-hmm.
On November 25th, Morgan appeared in the Cook County, Illinois court, and she signed a waiver of extradition, meaning that she agreed just to return to Wisconsin. She's not fighting it. She's going to go. On November 26th, Morgan was transported back to Wisconsin, and around 4 p.m., they processed her back into the Waukesha County Jail.
Hell yeah.
The Department of Corrections filed a petition to revoke her conditional release, which means that she could be returned to the mental institution where she was held for many years.
Or maybe she should just be returned to jail.
Well, she never went to jail, so yes.
She should go there.
Which we may end up getting because she may face additional consequences and charges for cutting off her ankle monitor. That's a felony. It's also a felony to any destructive damage to it. Like those are two separate felonies. So cutting it off and removing it. Because if you remove it without damaging it, you only get one. But if you damage it while removing it, we have two charges now.
Also, the fact that she was able to just cut it off with scissors is crazy. I watched Disturbia. Shia LaBeouf couldn't do that.
How did she get strong enough scissors? Did they not just have safety scissors in there?
I'm gonna comment on a couple things here. I feel like personally at this point, she shouldn't go back to a mental institution. I think she should go to jail. Strictly for the fact that she knew what she was doing was very wrong.
Yeah.
First and foremost, like she admitted to doing something bad to other police officers. And then on top of it, she lied to the police officers, not well, but she lied to them, knowing that was wrong, giving all this wrong information. So she had like this much of a plan, much.
We didn't get very far, just like last time.
Yeah.
The other thing that comes in with this is like, I don't understand where all the therapists in the institution and the judge and the defense is like, yes, she has healed and she has done all therapy and she's done all the things and we cannot help her anymore. And this is where she's at. No, obviously she had the threat of not being able to see somebody and cut her ankle monitor off and ran away. Yeah. That is a very 16-year-old thing to do. But Daddy, I love him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very, oh, you're going to revoke his visitation? To be fair, I'm running away.
I would also do that for Prince Eric.
But like, if you were 16,
yes.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Not being 24 years old and we're learning. We still don't know right from wrong. We're still just doing what we want to do.
Girl, you are so close to being good. You're so close to getting life back to you. And you literally just threw that the fuck away.
Yeah, not that she deserves it, but
for that?
Yeah, I don't even know. Obviously, she's not in the healing and the taking any of this seriously. No. It's just insane to me that it even got this far. So what's next for Morgan is she has her next court date on December 22nd, 2025. And that determines whether her release stays revoked, meaning she'd be sent back to the mental health facility, or she's going to be put in jail and facing these new charges. So we won't know what's going to be going on until a little bit later this month. But we needed to give you this update.
All in one, rather than the post after post after post.
Yes. For those of you who are new here and have no idea what we're talking about, stay tuned because we are going to now play our episode that we did about Payton in season 1, and it is such a good episode. This is one of my favorite episodes we did. I've been following this case since it happened, and I've been so on it, and I was very excited to do this episode initially that I'm so happy to share it with you guys again, get you caught back up on it, and then that way with all these new stuff, you guys have all the info that's going on, and a lot of people have been requesting that original video lately. Yes. So we figured that it'd be a great time to push this back out for you guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is probably one of my most unhinged episodes.
Yes. I made my sister put some work in on this with her social worker and therapist side. So you guys are going to have a lot of good, education too. It's a great episode. Like always, follow, subscribe at Justice for Podcast on all of our platforms. Check out our website, submit a case, order you some merch.
We have our holiday merch out right now with a discount code and always free shipping.
Yes, always, always. So check out that discount code in the description below. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media so you never miss a new merch release or episode release, because today we're coming at you on a Friday, and if you weren't following us, you would have missed this until Tuesday when you opened up your podcast app.
And Tuesday is the second part of Betsy that you definitely don't want to miss. So make sure you are subscribed and following us just so you don't miss it, because you don't want to miss the end of that shit.
No, you don't. It's so good.
It's fucked, but it's good.
It's so good. All right. So here is Peyton. Welcome to Justice For, a true crime podcast hosted by two besties from Colorado, focused on bringing justice to victims by telling their stories. New episodes release every Tuesday on all major podcast platforms and YouTube. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube so you'll never miss an episode.
Trigger warning, this is a true crime podcast that does contain adult language, adult themes, and some content may be disturbing for some viewers. So please watch and listen with discretion.
We all have our fantasy worlds that we wish we could live in. Some of us discovered this world in a book in our childhood/teens. Others role-playing in fanfic forums on the internet. Others in movies. One thing we all mostly know is that it isn't real. No matter how much we want to be sorted into our favorite house or eat second breakfast with our Hobbit besties.
She put that in there for me.
I did.
Thank you.
But for some, the line between fiction and reality gets blurred. Mix that with really good Photoshop and a good knack for storytelling. Add in adolescence, and you have the perfect storm for disaster.
Dude, that's how I feel about Hunger Games. PETA?
That is
my man.
Okay. Hunger Games is not what I thought of during this. But yeah. Welcome back to another episode of Justice For. We're your hosts. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Sam.
Today, we're going to ruin your day.
Oh.
But Jackie has a survivor story.
Technically, you're also ruining my day.
I am ruining Sam's day too.
I know nothing, technically.
Well, you know a little bit.
I know whispers of things.
Yes. Yeah. All right, we're just going to get into it. I'm not even going to tell y'all. But you'll know this story once we get in it. So, Saturday, May 31st, 2014 was a nice warm day in Waukesha, Wisconsin, a city that sits between Milwaukee and Madison. It has a population about 400,000 people. So, not a super small town, but you know.
Yeah.
And Greg Steinberg decided it was a great day for a bike ride, something he often did. And today he decided to take a different route than he normally did. As he came to the end of Big Bend Road, he saw a 12-year-old girl lying in the grass, and she was begging for help, saying that she had been stabbed. Greg could not believe what he was seeing. He shakingly pulled his phone out and called 911. And we're going to go ahead and play you a little clip of this 911 call because you can hear that even as he's talking, he doesn't even believe what he's saying. And the dispatcher is like, "Are you sure? She got stabbed." So, we're going to play that.
Okay, sir, are you with her right now?
Yes.
Is she awake?
She's awake.
Is there any bleeding going on?
Her clothing has got blood on it. Somebody's coming. Here any minute. Who did that to you?
Dan Klein was the first officer to respond to the call, and he thought there was no way that a 12-year-old had been stabbed. He thought maybe she fell off her bike or something else, just definitely not stabbed. This was Waukesha. Nothing happened here.
Waukesha.
The way it's spelled is not the way it sounds.
Wisconsin.
So, and he was absolutely shocked when he saw 12-year-old Peyton Leutner was laying in the grass covered in blood with stab wounds all over her. Peyton started telling Dan how long the knife was and that it was her friends that stabbed her. She could barely breathe, and she just wanted to get out anything she could. Paramedics were tending to her this entire time and getting her into the ambulance while Dan is talking to her. When Peyton arrived at the hospital, her heart was working in overdrive and her body was doing everything it could to survive.
Adrenaline, man.
Oh, yeah. And they had an investigator at the hospital waiting for her ambulance to arrive. She said that Peyton looked absolutely terrified and was in horrible shape, but she knew she had to start questioning her because they weren't sure if Peyton was even going to make it. Peyton told them that her friends did this, specifically her friend Morgan, and again, she told her how long the knife was. And it was a decent sized knife. We're talking the blade was like this.
Like a kitchen knife?
Yeah, it was like a kitchen knife.
Got it.
So, like, it was decent. Police managed to track down Peyton's mom, Stacy, just in time for her to get there before Peyton went into surgery. And when she got there, she said Peyton looked pale as a ghost. She couldn't talk. She was having issues breathing. And then she just started hearing the nurse say, "There's 5 on her arm, 7 on her leg." 2 nurses said, "I count 19." And her mom was so confused before realizing they were talking about the number of stab wounds on Peyton. Stacy just kept telling Peyton she was gonna be okay. So, I know you've got like 3 questions right now.
I have more than
minimum.
3. I have more than 3,
minimum.
yeah.
Let me top
But
3.
I'm keeping it to myself because I know you're going to say, like, tell me things. So I'm just like, oh, wait. This is the beginning of the fucking story, Jackie.
I know. So, who is Peyton? Who the fuck is Morgan? And what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
So, let's start with the girls.
Okay.
Remember how Peyton said her friends stabbed her? Plural. Her friends.
Yeah, you just said it.
Yeah. Yeah. But we've only mentioned Morgan.
Yeah, that bitch.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that about a child? She's not a child anymore.
We said that about Skylar, or not about Skylar, we said that about
Rachel.
Sheila Eddy and Rachel Strofe.
This child.
Huh?
Fuck them kids, bruh.
Listen, I am the parent of an 11-year-old, and honestly, fuck them kids sometimes.
Fuck them kids, bruh.
So, but Morgan was the only name that Peyton was giving at the time.
Okay.
Peyton was friends with Morgan Geyser and Anissa Ware.
Okay.
All 3 girls went to school together. Peyton became friends with Morgan in the 4th grade. Peyton said Morgan was always sitting alone and didn't think anyone should be sitting alone, so she became friends with her. And they quickly became really good friends. They often had sleepovers, they played dolls, and they were just kids. In 6th grade, Morgan met Anissa on the bus, and they lived in the same apartment complex. Peyton didn't really like Anissa because she was mean to her. She wasn't very nice to her. So they weren't really a trio. It was more like Peyton's friends with Morgan and Anissa's friends with Morgan, and then they all just hung out. So, and they all just, so they were constantly hanging out at school because if they both want to hang out with Morgan, they're all going to be around each other. And that occasionally led to all of them having sleepovers, especially if it was at Morgan's house.
Okay.
So on Friday, May 30th, Morgan invited Anissa and Peyton over for her 12th birthday. They went roller skating at the local roller rink, then headed back to Morgan's house for a sleepover. They spent the night playing American Girl dolls, playing on the computer, just pre-teen girl things. The next morning, the girls get up, eat donuts for breakfast. They're playing dress up, playing on the iPad, and then Morgan asks her mom if they can go for a walk. Now, Morgan's mom never let Morgan go for a walk out to like their park that had all the trails and everything by herself. She always had to have an adult with her. But she decided to make an exception for Morgan's birthday. She had her 2 friends with her. She just turned 12. What was the harm? And it's Waukesha. Nothing happens here.
My mind is... I don't know what the word I'm looking for right now is. But firstly, I want to say, what kind of shit was I doing as a preteen if this is normal?
Well, this is
What
like normal now. Like, my daughter is just turned 11, and we just kind of started phasing out of American Girl dolls and stuff. But when her friends do come over and they have sleepovers, they are playing dolls, they are playing dress up, but they're doing makeup and other stuff like that, and they're on the iPad and going stuff online. But, I mean, by 6th grade, I still wasn't doing that at sleepovers and stuff. But it's okay. These kids have a little bit more innocence with them, and that's fine.
We love that because at sleepover, if you and I were friends at this age, I guarantee there would have been MASH.
Oh, yeah, this is not what I was doing in
own-
middle school at sleepovers.
Same. We would have been making up our own dance videos because this is
we were doing that
time anyway.
We were on AOL Messenger.
Yep.
Talking to probably 40-year-old men,
that
not even knowing it, should not have been doing.
These people.
Yeah. So they were a little bit more innocent, naive.
I'm sorry, what?
For now.
What? Innocent.
Yeah. Innocent. She doesn't know, though.
Okay.
So let's let her go with this.
I have...
So the girls went to the park and decided to go in the woods and play a game of hide and seek. Morgan went to count while Peyton and Anissa hid. Anissa told Peyton to lay down in the grass and cover herself with sticks and leaves. So Peyton did that. While lying under the leaves, she could hear Morgan and Anissa talking. Anissa says... And then all of a sudden, she just hears Anissa say, "Just go ballistic." And suddenly, Peyton could feel something hitting her. Then it all just stopped. She opened her eyes, and she could see Morgan and Anissa just staring at her. She tried to get up, but her eyes went dark, and it was hard to breathe, and she couldn't really stand. So Morgan told her to lay down so she wouldn't lose blood too fast. Anissa and Morgan told Peyton that they were going to go get her help. Just lay down and stay there. And the girls walked away. But Peyton didn't believe they were going to get her help, so she somehow managed to stand up using the trees to brace herself. And she says she doesn't know how she did it, but she walked until she reached that patch of grass on the road where she collapsed and Greg found her.
Adrenaline.
Yeah.
Also, they did this on that bitch's birthday?
Yeah, Morgan's birthday. It's not Peyton's birthday, it's Morgan's. Yeah. Oh, the day after her birthday.
Regardless.
So...
What a birthday present.
The police have no idea what's going on. And at this point, they just know that Peyton's been stabbed and Morgan and Anissa are nowhere to be found. So, I just need to catch y'all up on what had just happened before we continue. And that is Peyton's account. So, with no one really know what's going on, the police don't know if they are a danger to themselves, if they are in danger, or what's happening. Police show up at Morgan's house, basically in full riot gear, because she's the only one Peyton's named. And there's a little confusion, because when Morgan's little brother opened the door, told police that Morgan was at home because he didn't know she'd left. So when Morgan's mom comes up the stairs and says Morgan's not home, the police think she's lying. So they're like searching the house and all this stuff. And Morgan's mom Angie is Morgan's mom. She's like, I don't even know what's going on at this point. I have police in here. Like, I don't know if she's missing. I don't know if she's in trouble. Any of this.
And in riot gear. How amazing.
Yeah. And so like, which to me was kind of wild for a 12-year-old. I mean, I realize she stabbed someone and they don't have a lot of information, but like full riot gear for a 12-year-old.
Okay. Hold on. You also have not said the exact number of times that she's been stabbed, which you can wait to do so.
I did too, when the nurses said there's 19. We count 19.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the total. Okay. My mind was thinking there was more. So...
But 19 total stab wounds is a whole lot. And with having one person in, I just think that the full riot gear is a little much for a 12-year-old, even if they have a knife.
I mean...
You know?
How baller, though. That's the only good thing that she gets.
Nothing happens in Wickesa.
Huh?
Well, nothing happens in Waukesha.
Yeah, that's the other part. Nothing happens in Waukesha, but they probably peeled the plastic off that riot gear that morning. Like, as soon as they heard it, they were like, oh, yeah, we've got a reason.
We're so ready. I'm ready for this riot gear. Because obviously, she's going to go after these grown-ass police officers.
So Angie tells police that the girls had taken a walk. They had a sleepover, they took a walk. And that is when they learned about Anissa. And so they went to Anissa's parents, Chrissy and Bill, and they were just as confused. They thought their daughter was at a sleepover, and now their daughter is missing, possibly involved in a stabbing, or could be in danger. So a massive search for the girls begins. And like, we're talking helicopters, canine, foot searches, you name it. We've got the news going, all of it.
Riot gear.
And no one knows if these girls are a suspect or if they're witnesses or what. And then Angie's mom, or Anissa's mom, Angie, finds a note on Anissa's phone that made them think the girls could be in danger of harming themselves.
I thought Angie was the other girl's mom.
Or not Angie, Chrissy. Anissa's mom.
Okay.
Sorry, the A's.
Got it.
Chrissy, Anissa's mom, found a note on her phone that made her think that the girls were in danger of harming themselves because it sounded more of like a suicide note than anything. Mm-hmm. We're going to play that for you.
She writes, "This is my final wish to those who care. Do not grieve my absence, but remember me for who I was. I love and cherish you all and wouldn't do you harm."
Okay, so what do you think?
I'm confused.
Yeah, it's confusing. Like, I don't know if I see the first part of that as being like a suicide note, like a type thing. But the second half of it is more like, I wouldn't do you no harm. Like,
yeah.
That part is...
So, did she say, like, I don't want you to grieve me? Like, I understand how they're like, oh yeah, that's definitely a suicide note, but I wouldn't do you any harm.
It's not like, it doesn't sound like she's going to kill herself. It sounds like she's just going away. To me, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
I don't know.
weird.
It's so weird. And it's very odd verbiage for a 12-year-old as well. Like, very...
But I can see how her mom would think that.
Yes. In, like, the frenzy of everything.
Yeah.
So, Morgan and Anissa were found 5 hours later, around 2:45 p.m., sitting on the side of Interstate 94. They had managed to make it to the north side of the city, and the girls were overall fine. A little dirty, but no injuries. Police found a knife matching the description Peyton gave in Anissa's backpack. They also had what appeared to be bloodstains on their clothes. Mm-hmm. And they were taken straight to the police station to be questioned. Fun fact, in Wisconsin, minors can be interrogated without their parents present.
No shit.
Yes. Detectives said minors are more willing to be honest if a parent isn't present. So the girls were read their rights,
that makes
and they
so
were
much
interrogated.
sense.
Peyton is still in surgery when the girls were brought into the police station. Mm-hmm. So police, at this point, do not know if Peyton's going to make it or not, still.
Okay. Did she lose that much blood? Or just...
We will...
Shit. We're going to get into it?
We'll get into that.
Okay.
So the police took Morgan and Anissa into separate interrogation rooms, and Anissa seemed a little scared. But I want to start with Morgan.
Really quick, I just had a thought, just because I'm still thinking about this whole Wisconsin thing.
Okay.
Hear me out here. How smart is that, though? Like, to not have parents there? Because, absolutely.
How many interviews have we watched where the parents are in there doing stuff? Aiden Fucci.
Yeah.
With his mom, like, whispering and other stuff. How many times do we see family
member wasn't in there, but
you know what I mean? Like, how many times with the when his parents were in the room, though, with the police officer, he wasn't saying anything, and they keep looking at their parents. It's also like...
It's, so, like, I think maybe what should be adopted is, like... The parents shouldn't be in the room, but like, they're giving permission from, like, the outside or some shit.
On, like, the other side of a two-way mirror or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's...
Two-way glass or whatever.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. That would make so much more sense, because absolutely kids are going to fucking talk more if their parents aren't there.
It's like the same thing at the doctor. They'll kick parents out the room because teens are more willing to talk about things when their parents aren't sitting right there.
Absolutely.
Same concept. So, way to go, Wisconsin.
Proud.
So, let's start with Morgan.
Okay.
She actually seems just fine in this interrogation room. She's dancing around and just being a normal 12-year-old. She's not acting like she just stabbed her friend.
Oh.
At all. And she's not acting like she stabbed her friend and is now talking to police about it. She very calmly let them take pictures of the bloodstains on her clothes. And Morgan kept calling Peyton Bella. She said it was a nickname for her since there was another Peyton at school. She asked if Bella was dead. The detective said she was taken to the hospital, and Morgan, shocked, said, "What?" and then went back to a normal tone.
Oh,
I was just wondering.
Bella, you're so naive.
And
talking like Twilight Bella?
No, like she just, I don't know why she called her Bella. It was just the nickname she gave because there's another Peyton in school. But it's weird. And Morgan, I need to know, like, the only time her tone really changes out of just like a normal talking, whatever, like I'm doing right now, is when she goes, "What?" to Peyton not being dead. It's really the only time her voice changes out in any tone of concern or anything else.
Was it concern or was it more
It was like a shock, like
what?
it was like a shock, like a what?
Oh.
Like, and then she like went back to it. It's just interesting. And the thing she says in here, she said she knew this would catch up to her eventually because her mommy said everything always does. And that's a direct quote.
Ew.
She said, "You have no idea how hard it was to keep it a secret, to not tell anyone. We were all together. It was a flawless plan, really." She said they had planned it for 6 months. Morgan said Anissa said they had to, or Slender Man would kill their families. Like, what? Okay, so we're going to go back to that last little bit in a second, but I'm going to skip over it for right now. Because I want to talk about Anissa's demeanor during her interrogation. She was a little scared, but overall, really calm. She said Morgan said they had to do it, and that it was Morgan's plan. Anissa asked where Bella's body was. When the detective told her Peyton was alive, she was like, "Oh, okay. I thought she was still out there in the crime scene." When asked if she thought Peyton was dead, she said, "Yeah." And there wasn't any emotion in her voice when she said that. Anissa was more forthcoming than Morgan was with information. She would say who did what and what she did, and she was a lot more direct about it. She said things like the bad part of me wanted her to die, and the good part of me wanted her to live. And none of this would have happened if I wouldn't have shown Morgan the creepypasta website.
The fucking creepypasta website, dude.
And then she goes on to say, "This is going to get me arrested, isn't it?"
Yeah.
So,
hold on. I need to get in my head really quick. So Morgan was blaming her, Anissa,
Anissa.
and Anissa's blaming Morgan.
Yeah.
For whoever came up with the plan.
And I'm going to tell you right now, and we're going to go over it a little bit later as well. It becomes very clear in their interrogations what roles were played, because detectives keep coming out of these rooms to compare notes at certain points, because at certain points they're hearing things and going, "The fuck?" and coming out to make sure that the other person is also hearing the same shit. And when they keep coming out and hearing the same things, but the difference is Morgan uses "I think" statements. "I think Anissa stabbed her. I think we did this. I think this is what we did." Whereas Anissa is, "Morgan did this.
She did
Morgan stabbed it. I did this. I handed this over here. I did," like,
so factual.
Yes, Anissa's very factual, which makes them believe she is the one who's being more truthful in this, and Morgan is using more, I think, manipulative and roundabout statements. And you're going to see what I mean when we get more into that later.
Okay. Oh, to be a fly on those walls.
Oh, you can, because it's all recorded and released. And we'll have it all linked. So, like, yeah, I'm pulling direct quotes out of watching this stuff. And, like, I was going to link it, but I was like, it's just going to be too many video clips. When ABC 2020, 5 years after, have an episode called The Wicked. And they have a lot of the clips in it. You can find a lot of the clips on YouTube. So it's definitely, go watch it. Because it's intriguing.
Yeah.
I am 33, and I don't think I could be as calm as these 12-year-olds were in these rooms. So...
That's because we have mental illness, love.
Oh, that's not going to age well.
Oh, no.
So, who is Slender Man? Who is Slender Man? And what is creepypasta? And why would it be the reason for two 12-year-olds to stab their friend?
I know 2 of those answers.
I'm glad.
I know who Slender Man is, and I know what creepypasta is.
See, I knew at one point you were going to trigger yourself in this episode and follow along. So,
but also, as a millennial, you should know what creepypasta is.
Yes.
Period.
So, Slender Man is a fictional internet character that was first introduced to the internet in June of 2009 as part of a paranormal photo contest. 2 pictures were submitted to an online forum called Something Awful. And they were Photoshop pictures of real children. One was at a playground, and the other was just a crowd. But both images contained a tall, slender man with tentacle silhouette in the background, along with an ominous caption about eyewitness accounts of abductions.
No shit, that's how it
This
started.
is the very 2 original things. This guy, I had his name in here. His name is Kurt something. And he had submitted these. In this photo contest, normally no captions were ever submitted with them.
Yeah.
He was the first one to do that. And so, like, it went off. soon different stories featuring Slender Man were popping up in different forums and corners across the internet.
Yeah.
These stories depicted Slender Man preying on children, talked of how to become a servant at his mansion, and his depiction was different depending on who was writing the story. But ultimately, Slender Man is an unnaturally tall and thin character, 6 to 14 feet tall sometimes. And he would wear a black suit, a black tie, black shoes, white collared shirt, and sometimes he had tentacles growing out of his back. He had a white face, but was faceless. And the story that Morgan and Anissa really, really focused on and got obsessed with was in order to become Slender Man's servant and live with him in his mansion in the forest, you have to kill someone to prove yourself. And not only that, but to protect your family from Slender Man killing them. So, Slender Man became an internet phenomenon, and you remember it. I remember it.
Oh yeah, dude. There's
And it
movies
just
and shit about it
yes,
now.
And the reason there's movies about it
because
is
of
because
this
of
shit.
this. And it just, there are people who would make videos and pictures and even fake news stories that looked so real. Like the power of Photoshop, guys. All right, was insane. And now, I mean, AI wasn't around back then like it is now. So that, but it was very convincing.
Yeah.
The things that were on there. And so Creepypasta was one of it's like an online forum. People shared stories, pictures. It was just in the days of Tumblr and all the stupid things that we would post and fanfics we'd write and role-playing websites and just that whole world. And
I mean, that's I could be wrong on this. It was probably more of a Tumblr. I think it was a Tumblr thing. How some people wrote like fan fiction of Twilight, I think, and it became 50 Shades, or it was the other way.
It was
or
something like that. Yeah.
Like that.
So this is like the era of stuff that we're doing. And for us elder millennials,
I'm a grandmother.
We grew up knowing don't trust everything on the internet. Not everything on the internet is real. But
we grew up with the internet.
Yes,
we're the
we
ones
grew up at the
posting
birth
that
of the
shit.
internet. We were there for the dawn of Google. But we really were.
We're
we
older
went
than
from
Google.
We went from Yahoo Answers and Ask Jeeves to Google. I remember going into class in elementary school, and on the whiteboard they had google.com typed up there, and today that's what we were learning. It's my favorite flex.
Also, if there are any younger people listening to this, y'all don't understand how easy you have it with this new AI answer shit
On Google? Oh, y'all, it's so unfair.
No idea. Because I was like, oh my god, Wikipedia is amazing. And we could never use it on anything for sites.
No, because you can edit it. Yeah.
I want to edit so many Wikipedia pages just for shits and gigs.
So,
And that's why we can't use them on research papers.
Exactly.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
Morgan and Anissa were of that generation that I feel like kind of got in this little gray area of not everyone shoving down not everything on the internet is real. Don't believe everything you see on the internet, because we had it in us so much that who do we really need to be telling this to still?
This happened in 2014, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they were probably born 2002, 2003
Yeah. So
time frame. So after 9/11, that's how I compare everything. I'm really sorry, but
yeah, so they're kind of in that little gray area of unmonitored internet-y type things.
Yeah.
So Morgan and Anissa believed Slender Man was real. Anissa even said she saw him one day while on the bus. And to these girls, he was so real that they wanted to be with him. They actually thought his mansion was real, and it was located in the Nicollet National Park, which is where they were walking to.
Where's the Nicollet National Park?
In northern Wisconsin.
Ew.
Yeah, so it was north of where they were going. That's where they were walking to when they were found.
Okay.
So Morgan and Anissa had been planning for 6 months to kill Payton in order to prove themselves to Slender Man and become his servants and live in his mansion, and to save their families from being killed by him. Remember, these are 11 and 12-year-olds.
Can you imagine if they actually made it to the national park?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And Morgan goes on to say that they were worried about getting caught planning it, so they would use code words. So instead of knife, they would say cracker. Instead of killing, they would say itch. This way, they could whisper on the bus, and even if someone heard them, they wouldn't know what they were talking about. The girls' original plan was to do it the night of the sleepover at Morgan's house. They planned to duct tape Peyton's mouth shut and stab her. Then they would leave so they could get to Slender Man's mansion before anyone knew what happened. So that night, Morgan insisted they go to bed instead of staying up all night like she normally tried to do. She put on her headphones and set an alarm for 2 a.m. But when the alarm went off, Morgan and Anissa were too tired, so they just went back to sleep.
Period.
The girls all woke up at 5:30 and started playing on the iPad. Then they started playing dress up. I know, it's fucking ridiculous. My kid and her friends will be up to like 2 a.m. and then they're up at like 6:30. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I don't know. So, they all started playing dress up. And while Peyton is putting on a dress in the bathroom, Morgan and Anissa were discussing plan number 2. They decided they would go to the park to kill her in one of the bathroom stalls. They would sit her on the toilet and then knock her out. They said, the internet said it's easier to kill someone if they are unconscious when you stab them. And it's also easier if you don't look them in the eyes.
I mean, okay, yeah.
So Morgan took a knife from her house and showed it to Anissa when they left the house. So just like they planned, they go into the bathroom, and Morgan tries to knock Peyton unconscious by hitting her head into the concrete wall. But it didn't work. So the girls decided to leave the bathroom, and while walking around, plan number 3 was devised.
How did she talk herself out of hitting her head?
So I don't know if she kind of just like did like one of those, like didn't like do it hard enough and could play it off like she was just joking and like pushed her head and like didn't realize like how much force it actually took to knock someone out by doing that. And like being 12 and never, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, that part is a little like, Peyton, hi honey, run. So that's why I'm thinking that it wasn't like a full blown like grabbed her head and smashed it into a wall. I think she kind of like just pushed her backwards hoping that would do it. Yeah.
Yikes. Okay.
So, as they're walking around, Anissa whispers to Morgan and points at the woods and says we could take her in there and do the deed.
Ew.
This next part, I had to rewind and listen to this 4 times because I could not believe what I heard her say. When the detective asked Morgan how they got Peyton to go in there, Morgan says, I said, let's go bird watching. She says, people who trust you become very gullible. It's sort of sad. What in the fuck?
I'm sorry. I'm
Like-
laughing because I'm nervous. What?
Yeah, exactly. And she says it so nonchalant, so deadpan, so chill. Like she was telling him her favorite breakfast and then explaining why she liked it.
I'm putting this on the record right fucking now, okay? If either of you ever say, hey guys, let's go bird watching.
So that's not how she got her into the woods, but that's what she said to the detective was what she wanted to say to her and how she would have gotten her into those woods.
I'm just
like,
saying,
I know.
Never. I'm never hanging out with you again if you ever say,
I know.
we're going
but
bird
for the fact that a freshly turned 12-year-old can say something that psychotic?
That's true.
But when they got closer to the woods, a game of hide and seek was suggested by Anissa. And once in the woods, it was decided that Morgan would go count, Anissa and Peyton would go hide. Anissa said, and I quote, then we were going to chase her down like a lioness chasing a zebra.
Who said that?
Anissa. Once Peyton was covered up with the leaves and sticks, Morgan came over to Anissa and they began discussing who was going to do it. Anissa told Morgan that she just couldn't do it. And she handed the knife back to Morgan, and they had agreed that their word that they would say to start it all was ballistic. So Morgan got the knife, and as Anissa handed her the knife, she goes, go ballistic, go crazy. And that's when Morgan just began stabbing Peyton. When the detective asked what it was like, she said it was like nothing. It was like stabbing air. She goes, I just stab, 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 stab. It was like nothing.
Huh.
Exact quote. As the girls walked away from Peyton, Anissa said to Morgan, we're not getting her help.
Clearly.
And the girls then began walking to the Nicollet National Forest to find Slender Man's mansion and become his servants. So, that note left on Anissa's phone makes a little bit more sense. She was just going away.
Don't grieve me.
Don't grieve me, and I'm not going to harm you because, well, they just harmed somebody and now they're gone.
I did this to save you.
Yes. And detectives were just absolutely shocked by what they were hearing and observing from both of these girls. Like, they have seen full-blown adults who can't even act this calm.
Yeah.
And normal in these situations. And like I'd said earlier, Anissa was a lot more direct in her answers and took a lot more accountability for what she did and what she planned. As you could see I handed the knife to Morgan. I told Morgan to do it. I told Morgan we weren't getting help. You know, much more as Morgan was way more very creepily said things.
Yeah.
And just kind of, a lot of her statements were more, I think, towards Anissa in hers. And at one point, Morgan says that she felt no remorse about stabbing Peyton. She said, I wanted to hurt people before, but they're not nice to me, so they deserve it. Yeah. After 6 long hours, Peyton is out of surgery and on the road to recovery.
Okay.
This happened while they were in their interviews.
Yeah.
Yep. Dr. John Kielman, Peyton's surgeon, said that it was a miracle that she was alive. There was one stab wound over Peyton's heart that had it been the width of a human hair deeper, Peyton would have had a major heart attack from the bleeding and she would have died within minutes. Literally, like, a millimeter was the difference in...
Not even a millimeter.
Yeah, it was a difference in life and death. Peyton had 19 stab wounds to her legs, arms, torso, and chest. The stabs to her arms and legs only damaged soft tissue, but the 2 stabs to her torso had hit major organs, her liver and stomach. Peyton said her first thought after waking up from surgery was if the police found Morgan and Anissa and if they were in custody. But she couldn't ask anyone because she was still intubated, and she stayed that way for a while. She wasn't able to breathe on her own for a few days.
Did they puncture her lungs?
With where it was in her...
With her
stomach and everything else. Like,
chest cavity?
in her chest and everything like that, they couldn't. She could not breathe on her own. I didn't say anything about any of her lungs being punctured, but I would assume a stab wound and anything to her chest could.
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised that since they hit her stomach, she didn't bleed out. Because if your stomach gets hit, you're done for, dude.
Yeah. So that's what her 2 major ones was, her stomach and her liver. So she had to use whiteboards to communicate in the meantime. And Morgan and Anissa were then arrested for first-degree attempted homicide. Now, the only question left was, will they be charged as adults or juveniles? And the following day, it was announced that they would be charged as adults.
Hell yeah, brother.
And I want to share a quote from Peyton about that.
Okay.
She says, adult crime is for adult court. If they had stolen a candy bar, okay, that's a child's thing. But they tried to kill somebody. Snaps for Peyton.
Period.
Snaps for Peyton. With them being charged as adult, it made everything very public. The girls were brought into court wearing jumpsuits shackled at their wrists and ankles along with the belly chain. And people were really split about this. Some thinking these girls did a horrible thing and were old enough to know better, while others believed something was seriously mentally wrong with these girls and they needed help.
Okay.
Which,
Okay.
yes.
I can see both sides of that.
I mean, the statements Morgan is making in this interview.
Absolutely.
And the things Anissa is saying and how calm they are and how much they just very much believe Slender Man is real. And they did this to go join him and they did it to protect people.
They literally walked 5 hours.
5 hours. Just walking
Maybe a little
5
bit
hours more. Like, yeah, they were found 5 hours later. So
Because how
maybe even more.
long did it take for Peyton to be found by Sir Greg?
I think it only took her like maybe an hour. I don't think she was
So
out
they
there
may
for
have
very
been
long.
walking for like 6 hours.
5 to 6 hours,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, and they were just walking. They did nothing else. There is no things that they stopped. They went to like a library, they went to a gas station, they went, anywhere that kids would go to go do something fun. They went to a parking lot. They literally were walking because the distance they made it is how long it would have taken them to walk.
Yeah.
So in August of 2015, Morgan and Anissa pleaded not guilty by mental defect or disease. Peyton said once she found out why they did it, she said she wasn't surprised at all because she knew how much they believed in him and thought he was real. It was actually a reason she considered not being friends with Morgan. But Morgan guilted her into staying friends with her, and Peyton felt bad. Morgan didn't have any other friends, and she didn't want her to be alone.
She had Anissa.
Yeah, and even with Anissa being mean to Peyton, she said she never suspected anything of them that night or day. She said everything seemed normal, even when they went for a walk, because nothing bad happens in Waukesha. I'm sorry, that just kept getting repeated in so many different things. By so many different people. But looking back on it 5 years later in that 2020 special, she said there were things that were off.
No
Like,
shit. I
Morgan-
can point out a few of them.
Like Morgan not wanting to stay up all night like she normally wanted to at sleepovers. Morgan wasn't allowed to stay up late any other time. It was the only time she was. She does remember seeing them whisper to each other here and there, but they tended to do that. And fortunately, Peyton said she didn't feel any of the stabs. Her body instantly went into shock and protected itself. But she does say that was the moment that her trust was forever broken. And not only between her and Morgan and Anissa, but her trust in everybody.
Totally valid. Do you think maybe she was concussed from the earlier thing?
Head hitting.
And her body's already trying to figure that bullshit out.
Yeah. I could also see her, like, if they did hit her head in, like, a more than just, like, a lighter, decent way, that, like,
Yeah.
something could have been happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little woozy.
And maybe that's why she's not recalling that moment either of saying, like, that was suspicious.
Yeah.
You never know.
I like that thought.
Thank you.
So, the investigation into the lives of Morgan and Anissa. Investigators searched the girls' bedrooms and lockers at school, and police basically told the police and families not to touch any of their belongings, and proceeded to process their bedrooms and lockers like a crime scene. And let's start with their lockers at school. In Anissa's locker, there was only one picture of Slender Man. Everything else was found in Morgan's locker. There are tons of notebooks with writings and drawings, all related to Slender Man, even hanging on her locker, like art, you know, how you'd hang like Polaroid picture or something?
I had a picture of Mel Gibson.
I had a picture of Ludacris.
We are not the same.
We are not.
It was him in The Patriot also. No, I lied. Highlander, because he had the blue thing.
Okay, that's
I'm
acceptable.
not judging you.
Thank you. Your face looked a little judgy.
Oh, I was more judging myself. I didn't have anything in my locker.
That's a shame.
We're all not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it definitely wasn't a big secret at school that these two girls were really into Slender Man. It was also found that Morgan had checked out books at the school library about crime scene investigations, the prison system, and mental health conditions.
She's a self-aware criminal.
Possibly, yes. Yeah, a little bit. And they didn't want Morgan's parents to go through anything.
Hold on. Why the fuck do they have this at school libraries?
For school projects?
Of crime scenes?
I don't know. My school library had a lot of books.
Of crime scenes?
I don't know. I never checked out books about crime scenes.
I could see it in middle school.
What?
All right, any middle school
Okay.
teachers out there, let us know what your library's got.
I
Okay,
am confusion.
I have confusion. So,
Go on.
okay, so for
Proceed.
obvious reasons, the police didn't want the parents touching their rooms.
Clearly.
They didn't want them taking anything out. But for another reason, they really wanted to get a feel for who these girls were.
Oh no.
And at first glance, Morgan's room looked like the normal room of a 12-year-old. You could see toys and dolls and just normal 12-year-old girl things. But upon closer inspection of her drawers and closets, they found numerous notebooks with drawings and writings about Slender Man, dolls that had been mutilated with hands, legs, feet, and arms cut off, drawings saying, "I want to kill people," "The pain is inside," "Help me escape my mind." And DA Kevin Osborne said it was the type of things that would make any parent go, what's going on here? This isn't normal. They also went through her computer and found an email from Morgan to Anissa about making sure she deleted her browser history. Making police then check Morgan's browser history, where they found searches like, "How to get away with murder," "What kind of insane am I?" "What happens after a murder?"
I'm keeping my thoughts to myself. Please continue.
Anissa's room was similar to Morgan's. It had dolls and typical 12-year-old girl things. On Anissa's iPad, police found an email account that Anissa's mom, Christy, said she had no idea about, and she was shocked that Anissa would lie about her age and make a fake email. Anissa's mom only thought she had a school email address. Okay. And let's talk about the parents' reactions to everything that's being told to them and found when asked if they knew about Slender Man and what the girls had been doing on the internet. Morgan's mom, Angie, said she knew about Slender Man. Morgan showed them pictures and told them stories, and they didn't know she thought Slender Man was real. They didn't think it was too dark or twisted for her age because at 11, Angie remembered riding her bike home with the Stephen King novel It under her arm. And that book is dark and twisty, so she didn't think anything of it. When asked if Morgan had been acting differently lately or in a concerning way, she said Morgan was getting bullied a lot by kids that year leading up to the stabbing, and Morgan was being moodier than normal. But Angie just blamed it on her period starting and being a preteen.
Okay. Are we done talking about Angie?
Let me add this one other part, and then
Yeah.
you can go off because
Okay,
it's going to
please.
add to it.
Please.
So, she blamed all that on just her being a preteen.
Mm-hmm.
Completely dismissing the fact that Morgan's dad, Matt, has schizophrenia, which is one of the many mental disorders that Morgan got diagnosed while awaiting trial. While Angie was shocked she missed the signs, she wasn't too surprised because of Matt. Morgan's diagnosis of schizophrenia was met with apprehension because 12 is a very early age to diagnose psychosis, unless Morgan wasn't telling people about the symptoms, which she claimed she didn't tell anyone because she knew if she told anyone, she would be medicated and her friends would go away. Her friends that she saw were Spock, Voldemort, and Slender Man. Then she would be alone. The other mental health disorders she was diagnosed with are schizophrenia spectrum disorder, PTSD, and I'm going to go over those more later and a little bit some other stuff. But go ahead, because then I'll get into Anissa. Because I knew you were going to have a lot to say about Morgan's mom, and we're going to talk about her more later, because I got a lot to say about her too. I broke Sam. You want me to keep going, or do you?
I don't know. I can't process everything I'm currently feeling because I don't know.
You want me to keep going?
You know what? Yeah, I'm going to keep processing. Keep going.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Was Morgan's dad still, with the family?
That is
Yes, living in the house.
Okay. And he's medicated.
Clearly. We're going to get more into that.
Okay.
As for Anissa, her parents were divorced and she lived with her dad, Bill. But when all this went down, her mom, Chrissy, and Bill became a team for Anissa's sake. They did interviews together. Bill testified at Anissa's trial. And he said that he thought Morgan was weird and would wear, like, Spock ears, but he was just glad Anissa had a friend after falling out with her friend group, left her with no friends. You know, middle school can be a whole thing. But he said Anissa was a normal kid. She played with dolls, liked to play on her iPad, was in Girl Scouts. And surprisingly, though, Anissa's list of mental diagnosis was way longer than Morgan's. She was diagnosed with PTSD, major depression, personality disorder, persistent depressive disorder, schizotypy, it's on the schizophrenia spectrum, and shared psychotic disorder. I will expand more on all of their disorders in just a moment. I just wanted to tell you what they were all diagnosed with before I start getting into the pleas of not guilty and their reason and all of that. Okay? But it's really shocking that she has a much longer list, isn't it?
Yes. Also the fact that, okay, look, schizophrenia is actually extremely fucking rare.
Oh, we're going to get into this. I have all the definitions. I have all the things for later. We will get into that. Yes, this is why people were very split and met with apprehension when they diagnosed these girls this way.
I'm ready.
So, in 2017, Anissa went to trial first, and it was a media frenzy.
It took them 3 fucking years?
Yes. So, and
is it because of the mental health side
yes,
of it?
because they were having all the evaluations and all of that and figuring out how they were going to do this. And the girls were kept in a county jail for months for a long time before they were figuring out what they were doing and everything was going, because it took us a while to get to the part where they pled. And then after that,
and then they probably had to determine if they were going to be tried as adults.
And so there's just a lot of waiting time in here. Okay. So, and this was 2017, we're 3 years later. And Anissa's older now. She doesn't look like this tiny 12-year-old 6th grader anymore. Mm-hmm. But she shocked everyone by pleading guilty to a lesser charge of attempted second-degree intentional homicide. As part of the deal she made, a jury would hear her insanity defense and decide whether she was criminally responsible and should be sent to prison, or if she was not guilty by reason of mental defect and to be sent to a state mental institution. Mm-hmm. The defense was, of course, all about mental health, and what Anissa's mental health diagnosis was. 3 experts testified that it was honestly pure chance that made the perfect storm. What were the chances that 2 12-year-olds with similar mental health conditions came together and just fed off of each other? That the shared psychotic disorder, and it's been seen in other cases, when 2 people with similar mental disorders or skewed moral compasses come together and do horrible things because neither one of them think it's wrong and neither one of them is going to say anything. Uh-huh. It's this weird thing that happens.
Okay.
And we've seen it in other cases and other stuff.
We have.
And so the shared... like the shared psychotic episode, like that's going to be a really big thing in this, and we're going to get more into all of these definitions and diagnoses later. I have a whole part for it because it's a lot. Yeah. And so prosecution said nope. No. She helped plan this for 6 months. Period. She had multiple times to change her mind after the plans failed. And she said she knew what she was doing. Mm-hmm. They also brought up, and I didn't bring this up in earlier interviews, was that in her interviews, Anissa said that she did not know that there was a threat from Slender Man until after the stabbing. She said that Morgan did not tell them that Slender Man was going to kill their whole families until after the stabbing. So the prosecution said no. She did not feel threatened when she did this. She did this because she wanted to do this. Meanwhile, Morgan said that Anissa told her about the threat of Slender Man and killing their families, and that's why Morgan did it. So this is back where it's the Morgan using the I thinks and blaming it on Anissa, and Anissa being like, I didn't know. So it's a kind of a little bit split of who thought who in there. But as we get to the end, you'll understand why we take Anissa's thought process a little bit more. Even though she has a longer list. So the jury deliberated for over 11 hours. And Anissa was shaking as she was waiting for her verdict to be read. The jury found Anissa not guilty by mental defect. She was ordered to a mental institution, and the jury didn't believe she needed to be in prison. They believed she needed to be somewhere she could get help. After all, she was only 12 years old when this happened. So I have a clip of Anissa at her sentencing that I would like to play.
I want everybody involved to know that I deeply regret everything that happened that day, and that I know that nothing I say is going to make this right, Your Honor, and nothing I say is going to fix what I broke. I'm just hoping that by holding myself somewhat accountable and making myself responsible for what I took part in that day.
That was extremely well spoken for someone who has all of these mental health issues.
And we'll get into that, but it's also
remorseful.
It's also very well. She was the one who wasn't all about not being remorseful. That was Morgan. Morgan was the one who said she didn't have remorse.
Oh,
and
no, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, as someone who has that many mental health issues, that was extremely well worded and spoken.
Yes.
And extremely remorseful for someone who may not have known what they were doing.
So remember that. But yes, it is a very big difference from what we were seeing in the interviews of her. And she is more confident, and so it was interesting. But she was taking responsibility.
Absolutely.
She is remorseful, and that's also a difference. She's obviously has had time to look back at this and realize what she did. And the judge sentenced her to 25 years in a mental institution.
And it has been, like, confirmed that she did not stab her a single time.
Yeah, so Morgan stabbed.
Okay.
And her mom has fears that she will never know how to interact in society once she is out. And, I mean, that's a very valid fear. But we're going to talk more about her in a little bit. And Morgan was up next. And she actually made a deal with prosecutors before having to go to trial. She pled guilty to attempted first-degree intentional homicide, and prosecutors agreed to not challenge her insanity defense. Morgan spoke at her sentencing, and we're going to play that clip as well.
I just want to let Ella and her family know I'm sorry. Never meant this to happen. I hope that she's doing well.
Okay, so how weird is it that she's still calling her Bella? Like, I'm sorry, honey, you got that right taken away from you the second you stabbed her. You don't get to use nicknames for friends anymore she doesn't.
Jackie literally just had to play that clip for me like 3 fucking times because I didn't hear it. The first one was my own fault because I was talking, but...
Yeah.
What?
So, but you can clearly see the differences in their mental states. Anissa has obviously... Okay, and Morgan still seems like she's the same
12-year-old.
Same 12-year-old. We're 3 years later, but she seems to still be the same person. And Morgan was sentenced to 40 years in a mental institution. A psychiatrist that was brought in to evaluate Morgan said he didn't think she was devious when she stabbed Payton. He thought she felt controlled by Slender Man and had no choice but to do it. But prosecutors said Morgan was clearly the ringleader, and it is fully believed that Morgan would have acted in some way eventually. But them finding each other by chance was what really made this go off. They sort of fed off of each other's mental illnesses without knowing it. And so now let's talk about exactly what Morgan and Anissa were diagnosed with. Before I go into the update of where everyone is now and where everything stands, because it's not where we just left them.
Oh, fuck.
So Anissa had a lot going on. And so I want to break all of that down. PTSD.
Yeah.
PTSD is caused by an extremely stressful or terrifying event, being a part of it or witnessing it.
Like watching someone be stabbed 19 times?
Yes.
Crazy.
It can last for months or years, affecting your ability to function on a daily basis. That is the definition of PTSD. It's just always good to actually have the real definitions out there. And we don't know if she is diagnosed with something from her childhood that did that, or if that PTSD came from the stabbing.
From that event.
Major depression, or MDD, is a clinical depression, and it affects how a person feels and acts. They often losing interest in things they enjoy, and this will usually last for at least 2 weeks. These episodes at a time in order for it to be MDD, a major depression. That's the difference between just depression and a major depression. And they are episodes that will last that long. And they're not always look the same, but there are standards for it. Personality disorder is such a broad diagnosis because there are many, many, many types of personality disorders, and they get broken down into 3 groups. There's Group A. Personality disorders Group A personality disorders have a consistently dysfunctional pattern of thinking and behavior that reflects suspicion or lack of interest in others.
Okay.
Group B personality disorders have a consistently dysfunctional pattern of dramatic, overly emotional thinking or unpredictable behavior. Group C personality disorders have a consistently dysfunctional pattern of anxious thinking or behavior. The schizotypy, which is on the schizophrenia spectrum, that is part of Group A personality disorders. So hers all really go together. They all do. Now, she is not technically schizophrenic. She did not get described as schizophrenic. She was on the schizotypy, which is in the personality disorder, which is on the spectrum. And that is all of our diagnoses that we had coming in trial. But her first initial diagnosis was having a shared psychotic disorder. And they weren't really off. Because usually a shared psychotic disorder is diagnosed between family members. For example, a child has a sibling with autism and they pick up behavioral traits but don't actually have autism. Autism isn't a psychotic disorder, obviously, but it's just an example. It's kind of similar to mass hysteria.
Yep.
And shared psychotic disorder is diagnosed when a child, Weir, in this instance, spends so much time with another child, Geyser, Morgan, that they start to develop the other child's behaviors, thoughts, and in this case, hallucinations and delusions. When the child, Anissa, was removed from Morgan and treated, they discovered that she wasn't actually having hallucinations or delusions, but she thought they were real because Morgan said they were real. In the autism example, those learned and shared behaviors aren't always dangerous, but they can become dangerous in cases of psychotic delusions and hallucinations because those create more harmful reactions, either harmful to the child themselves or others. So Anissa really was more of a shared psychotic disorder. She has this personality disorder, and it was just exacerbated by Morgan. Morgan, the PTSD, we already went over the definition of that. We're probably going to go ahead and take that from stabbing somebody.
Yeah.
And her schizophrenia spectrum disorder.
If her dad's schizophrenic, there actually could have been episodes that happened with him that could have caused this PTSD as well.
That as well. And that I could see more so with that.
Yeah.
And
also, I'm going to add in one of my little thoughts in here also. Based off of how whatever her mom's name acted.
Morgan's mom.
And how she never got to stay up. She never got to go anywhere without an adult.
We're getting in there.
Mom seemed a little strict, on the strict side.
Yeah.
So that could be part of it too.
Yes. So Morgan's schizophrenia spectrum disorder, and so the schizophrenia personality disorder, the schizotypal, it's different than their own, personality disorder. It has unusual thinking, beliefs, speech, or behavior, feels or thinks strange things such as hearing a voice whisper their name, has flat emotions or emotional responses that are socially unusual, the whole freaking interview, has social anxiety, including not being comfortable making close connections with others or not having close relationships, responds to others in ways that are not proper or show suspicion or lack of interest, has magical thinking, the belief that their thoughts can affect other people and events, believes that some casual incidents or events have hidden messages. The psychotic features that she was also diagnosed with are symptoms of psychosis, a condition that makes it difficult to distinguish reality from fantasy. Some common psychotic features include hallucinations, which is hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, or feeling things that aren't there. Auditory hallucinations are the most common and can be very distressing, especially if the voices are commanding or threatening. Delusions are having strong beliefs that others don't share, such as believing there's a conspiracy against you. I just really wanted to break down specifically the definitions of those because those are diagnoses and mental health things that get interchanged and thrown around and not the right
context.
Yes. Situations, scenarios. That's what I was looking for. And so I just kind of really wanted to put out there because there is a lot of confusion among those. And so that's basically what we're looking at. And it all does make sense.
Yeah.
And you can just tell there's something more going on with these girls. And I'm glad that they got more of the mental health than the prison route. But now that you guys know about all of their mental health diagnosis in depth, I'm going to need you to buckle up. Because I'm going to tell you what happened next. So, Anissa was released in 2021.
No fucking way.
And she lives with her father. She has to be 24-hour GPS monitored and receive regular psychiatric treatment. Her cell phone won't be able to access the internet, and she won't be allowed to use social media at all. She also won't be allowed to consume alcohol or drugs, enter a bar, possess a weapon, or have any contact with Peyton Leutner or her family. She won't be allowed to use the internet except at home, which I think is fucking bullshit.
You think you would want to monitor that?
With the DOC monitoring her online activity, which is absolutely wild to me because they can't even monitor their own inmates' activity on TikTok, so...
Please don't get rid of that, though. I love
Please
prison
don't.
talk.
We really like it.
I love prison talk so much.
So that was in 2001.
21.
Oh, yeah, 2021, sorry. Then, in September of 2023...
No, fuck off.
A judge agreed to have her GPS ankle monitor removed. But all the other stipulations stayed in place. In May of 2023, Morgan submitted for early release, but withdrew it in August. Her attorney stated that she was making substantial progress and were expecting to refile a motion for release next year. But Morgan was denied release in April of 2024. So earlier this year. Even with two doctors testifying largely in Morgan's favor, saying that she has actively participated in therapy and medication management. She's been off all antipsychotic drugs since 2022 and hasn't had a single new symptom. They said they have done all they can do for her in the confines of the mental institution. She needs to be socialized in the community. That's what she needs. She no longer has delusions, but was making up her delusions to avoid going home to her abusive father. But nobody will ever really go over the abuse or what the alleged abuse is or if there even was any. The judge said no. There is still a significant risk that Morgan could harm herself or others. She can file another petition of appeal in 6 months, but her doctors still stand strong on Morgan is no longer a threat, and they don't know how much safer they can make Morgan. Morgan's mom, Angie, desperately wants Morgan at home. She believes she can't be helped anymore where she is. But also, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I want to make this so fucking clear, this is my opinion. Morgan's mom is fucking weird, man. The shit that comes out of this woman's mouth and the interviews and everything else. She's fucking weird. Likes to say, she is struggling watching Morgan's friends grow up and go on to be normal and live normal lives when she knows that Morgan can't. Morgan's mom said that the attack was the product of Morgan's untreated mental conditions, and now that Morgan has gotten help, she's not a danger anymore. All of that was only said at the 5-year mark, not at the 2024 year mark. the part about Morgan's mom and her needing to be home.
Uh-huh.
So Morgan's mom I cannot believe, I feel like she knew about Morgan. You get that vibe and that feeling in how she talks and how she says things and what she does. I don't know how she didn't see it. I don't know if it was like she didn't want to see it because she didn't want her to have the same thing as her dad. But also in that, Morgan admits that all of her delusions aren't real. She does admit this after everything. And while she's in the mental institution and getting all the help, she admits that she made up all the delusions. So was Morgan's schizophrenia diagnosis actually real? Since she's been off her antipsychotics for 2 years and no new symptoms and no delusions and no anything? Or is it real, or did she just learn extremely well from her dad how to fake schizophrenia? She's been raised around it her whole life. She said that these delusions started when she was 3 years old, and she didn't tell anybody because she knew her parents would medicate her and make her friends go away. Which is why I see Anissa being released the way she was, because if all of her diagnosis were because of the shared psychotic features, imitating Morgan, and Morgan is imitating her dad's schizophrenia. Morgan very much screams Sheila Eddy psycho to me.
Yeah.
She screams masking and imitating.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to go back to what I was saying earlier now.
Okay.
Schizophrenia is extremely rare.
Yes.
Especially to have two people come together as such with the same thing. There's no fucking way. Also, let me stress this. Schizophrenia is extremely rare in children.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's not possible.
And 12 is extremely young to diagnose.
Absolutely. Most cases, actually, even if they're they have schizophrenia and they're not 18, they will not diagnose you with schizophrenia.
Unless you have a major triggering event in your teens. There's that one family that 7 out of the 9 boys ended up being schizophrenia, and their triggers, one of the boys started in their 20s, and then the triggers just started getting sooner and sooner, and I think the last one triggered at 15 or something like that.
That's wild. So yes, that is,
there's rare cases, but
very rare cases.
That's why this was met with a lot of apprehension, because they were diagnosing these very young girls with this. But as we saw time go on, you can definitely see where Morgan does have something there. We are definitely in the personality disorder and all that. Anissa, I think she has much more the shared psychotic features.
She was being a 12-year-old trying to make sure she had friends, was following along with what your friends did.
And just had a very weak mental mind. And
she was, in a bad way to say it, a sheep.
She was
a sheep.
Very much.
And Morgan is very much a wolf.
Yes.
And back to whatever her mom's name is, Morgan's mom, I wonder, because clearly she knows her husband has schizophrenia. It is very common for someone to have schizophrenia that has a child, for that child to fucking also have schizophrenia. So I wonder if she refused to put her in therapy, refused to do all this, but saw the signs, especially since she heard about Slender Man, most likely saw and or heard what she was doing to her dolls by mutilating them, all of the fucking notebooks.
She says that they had no idea what they found, and she had no signs. And I know, I'm just saying, I know.
I understand I am older than these girls, but...
Oh, no, listen, if any of these things my kid brought to me, oh, hell no.
Absolutely not. No.
I put her in therapy for less.
Yes. Also, if your child comes to you and says, oh, look at this Slender Man, don't you know about him? Wouldn't you want to sit down and have the conversation of, by the way, this is not fucking real kind of situation?
So with Morgan's mom knowing about all the Slender Man, all the other stuff, it's wild.
So I'm also going to say my opinion that maybe she was in denial. Maybe not denial, but maybe she was just turning a blind eye and pretending no, my daughter does not have this, doesn't have this mental thing, because then she doesn't want to have to deal with and take care of two schizophrenic people.
Yes. I could agree with that.
Like, I understand
Do you want to hear about a really heartwarming story she told about showing Morgan the movie Bambi?
I don't know if I want to hear that, because I don't like Bambis.
Well, she told this story, and it was meant to be heartwarming, I think, but I don't really know what the point of her sharing the story was. It was about how they didn't know if they should show Morgan Bambi. They had waited because they didn't know how she would react. They didn't want her to be upset or sad. But after Bambi's mom got shot, Morgan had the opposite reaction. She got really happy and started yelling at Bambi to run. That was the whole story. I don't know why she shared it. It was to help explain that Morgan was like, it was part of her explanation of her not knowing.
Ain't no way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, everything stands. And Morgan still wants to get out. Her attorney, it's so weird because her attorney is the one filing for these things, but then he turned around after her last denial and was like, she still believes that she killed Peyton because of her mental disorders and that she was the one who did it. And yeah, he's still referring to her as Bella.
Ain't no fucking
So
way.
yeah.
That right there should be a singular sign that they should not release her if she can't even call her by her actual government name.
Yeah. That part's still insane to me. And speaking of that, we're gonna have another letter with that real quick.
Fantastic.
So I want to kind of move on to Peyton
Yeah.
and what has happened since, everything else. And I want to share with you probably like one of the like strongest things I think that I could ever hear a high schooler. I don't understand how some of these kids coming out of these situations have the thought process they have. But Peyton is just such an incredible, incredible person. And so Morgan wrote Peyton a letter. And so we're going to hear that, and then we're going to hear Peyton's response. And Peyton has also asked if she could say anything to these girls, what would she say?
They allowed that?
So let me play this for you.
Dear Bella, I wish I had words that could make everything better, but I don't, so all I can say is how sorry I am. And I can promise you not a day will go by
that I don't regret what I did. Stay strong, Morgan.
I mean, it's a nice gesture, and I appreciate it, but they're just words on a piece of paper.
If she saw this interview, what would you want to say to her?
Ooh, there's a lot that I would want to say to her. I would probably initially thank her, I would say. Because of what she did, I have the life I have now, which I really, really like it.
You do know that when people hear you say, I would probably thank her, that they're going to be surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear myself say that.
Why?
Because I wouldn't think that someone who went through what I did would ever say that, but that's truly how I feel. Like, without the whole situation, I wouldn't be who I am.
Stronger.
So once again, still wild calling her Bella. I know that was like in the 5 years later, they're 17, so around this time, but like still the same as sentencing and in this letter. And she doesn't get that privilege anymore.
No.
It's just weird. It's weird.
That's not okay to me. It's not.
And just, that's a lot of maturity to have. For a high schooler who had this horrible thing happen to her by her friends. I don't know at any point in my life I could have that level of clarity and thought process. Like, I'd be pissed.
I was extremely angry and petty when I was 17, 18. I mean, not that I'm not that now, but
yeah,
I
was hella petty.
Compartmentalize. Is that my
compartmentalize?
Thank you. It much better now than I could have when I was a teenager. Because yikes.
Yeah. But speaking of Peyton, let's do my favorite thing. Let's talk about Peyton.
Yes.
Peyton and her family have coped and moved on from this horrible thing that happened. But Peyton's mom, Stacy, was justifiably angry for a while because she thought that Morgan's mom was just in denial and ignoring her symptoms before this happened and didn't get help for her daughter. And how could she have not known with the dad also having it? But after a while, she realized that they were struggling just as much to navigate all of this. She realized that as a mom, she was probably scared and was guilty. It felt guilty and just all of the things. And so after a while, she just had to quit being so angry at her.
Okay.
And as
she's a much bigger person than I am.
Much bigger person. As for Peyton, the emotional scars were just as hard to overcome as the physical ones. Peyton said she slept in her mom's bed for a long time because she was too scared to be alone. Totally understandable. She also says that to this day she sleeps with broken scissors underneath her pillow at night just to feel safe.
Oh.
I mean, I don't blame her.
Well, especially now that they're out. Well, at least one of them's out.
Peyton said she didn't want to be defined by what happened to her. She didn't want to be the girl who was stabbed. It took her a while to accept all the scars she was left with, and not just the physical ones. Remember the officer, Klein, that was the first one on the scene? Well, he actually became the school resource officer at Peyton's school the next year when she went back to school. And he said that he felt really lucky to get that position because he felt like he got to protect her all the time. And so that's really cool. And I just don't think I'd be able to look at the way that Peyton looks at it.
No.
At all.
No.
And she went on to become a huge advocate for mental health. I mean, I don't know how she wouldn't. And she went on to attend the University of Wisconsin in the mental health field, psychiatry specifically. And she's also been very, very vocal about making sure parents monitor their kids' internet activity and explaining to their kids that things aren't real. You know, so she's a very, very big advocate at making sure that your kids know that these websites and these stories and this stuff, it's not real, it's just the internet. And
honestly, some adults need that too, though.
Yes. And we're definitely going to keep you updated on any changes made to Anissa's release, or if Morgan gets released. Well, changes to Anissa's release, like what she has, her stipulations.
Yeah.
And if Morgan gets released, because I don't know how that's going to go. But I would like to say, please, 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 please never self-diagnose yourself with anything. We say, or Dr. Google has to say, please always seek professional help. Always. And be careful with some of these terms and phrases you're throwing around. We make sure to be very careful when we call some of these people little psychotics people.
Yeah.
We're being serious because they got diagnosed with it. While Peyton and her family wish Anissa wasn't released, they do feel better knowing that she can't contact Peyton or the family until 2038. I don't know why that's the date, but it is. That's 24 years later.
From now?
Are you sure it's not?
From when it happened.
Are you sure it's not 25? Because if the original sentence was 25 years, it might just be.
But I think that when she got released, they put the no contact until, like, they put a new date for no contact.
I'm just wondering if they weren't legally allowed to push it any later than her original.
That
You
sentence.
said 38?
Yeah, 2038.
And she got released in 01?
2021.
21?
But she got sentenced.
That's 17 more
17
years. Yeah. That's just the no contact with family.
All right.
So, I believe justice was served in this case, in the sense that these girls got the help that they desperately needed, and that the justice system saw that they got into a mental health facility and not a prison, which would have done more harm than good. I definitely believe that mental health services need to be utilized at a younger and younger ages. I think that it could help catch some of these mental disorders as they develop, or prevent some of them altogether, by giving these kids mental tools they need to regulate themselves at younger ages. Because not all adults and parents know how to give those tools to their kids either.
I wanna plug something in here.
Yeah.
If you take your child to therapy and they are diagnosed with something, that does not mean you are a bad parent.
No, not at all.
Please remember that.
Yes. When I called to take my daughter to therapy, I honestly, I had a therapist so shocked that she lost words for a second and told me that. I said, listen, I need to bring her in, and I know that I am probably the reason that she needs to come in. So I need to figure out how we can all function together because we're not functioning right. And I know I am probably the problem. So we need help. And this therapist said, what? And I said, did I say something wrong? She goes, no, I've just never had a parent literally call me and say what problem. You just said. And I'm probably the problem. So please let me know what I'm doing wrong. And she was like, I've been told by both of her therapists that we are the most phenomenal family ever. She wishes every family was like us. But yes,
therapy
is amazing.
So amazing. And again, it doesn't make you lesser of a person, nor does it make you lesser of a parent. Sometimes life just fucking happens, man. You can't control every aspect of your life, of someone else's life, especially your kids. When they're at school, when they're around other people, you have no fucking idea. And having a third party be able to help in that situation is so great. Yes. Genuinely. Like, if you can't afford therapy, I get it. But
there are so many options out there.
And most insurances honestly cover therapy now. And I love that that's a thing now.
Yes. And therapy for kids looks so much different than therapy for adults.
Oh,
so if you've only ever been to therapy as an adult and you have kids who need to take therapy, they're not sitting in a room just talking to somebody. It's all play therapy. It is. Like, they use sandboxes with different toys and stuff. They use coloring. They have dress-up rooms. They have doll houses. I mean, the amount of stuff that my kid was doing in therapy, I was like, are you even in therapy? This kind of sounds fun. Right? She graduated out of therapy and 6 months later was like, Mom, I really, really need to go back to therapy. I'm angry. And I was like, you want to go play with the cool new sandbox, don't you? And she goes, yeah, Mom. They moved places right before she left. She only got one appointment at the new place, and they had all this cool new stuff she wanted to go play with. So she's been trying to convince me to go back to therapy to play with stuff.
Honestly, my ADHD ass would love that shit. Because, like, if you want me sitting there talking to you, give me some sand, man. It's going to be a completely different situation.
Yeah. So,
but we are obviously therapy advocates.
Oh, we love therapy.
Always.
Therapy is amazing.
Yes.
Everyone needs some therapy. Is there anything else you want to add on mental health and all that jazz?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today for another episode. If you have enjoyed hanging out with us, please hit that subscribe and follow button. Don't worry, it's totally free, and that way you'll always be notified when we drop a new episode. If you have a case that you want us to cover, if you have a headline you saw and just want to know more about it but don't want to research it, please head over to our website at justice4podcast.com and go into our case submission tab and submit that sucker. We would love to hear what you guys are reading and looking at and following, and we want to follow it too.
Yeah. And for the people who are still sending me stuff like through personal messages, you're still more than welcome to do that for either of us. But it's easier to put everything all together during the case submission page. But we're here.
Yeah.
Either way. So
give my sister something to do.
She doesn't do enough for us already.
I know.
Okay.
I had her doing all the mental health things you heard today. She researched for me and brought to me. So, because it sounded like a lot. Also, please give us a review or comment anywhere you can. Spotify, YouTube comments, Apple reviews, Spotify reviews, iHeartRadio reviews, anywhere you can. It really helps us pick up traction. It helps us be put in front of more people, and we love to hear what you guys have to say. Absolutely. You guys are all so wonderful. And like I already said, follow us everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Spotify, Apple, YouTube.
Everywhere. We're getting better about posting on certain socials as well.
We really are. Go check out our Instagram if you haven't. I got bored one night.
She did it.
Yeah, hyper-focused ADHD on that.
It was amazing.
All right. Anything else?
I got nothing, man.
All right.
Okay. Well,
okay.
We love you guys. Okay.
Bye.